Hi everyone, this is Filip, the project leader and the game designer at the Exiled Game Team, but most people just call me Misiek. We are a fairly new indie game development team in the Brony fandom, and the reason we made this video is because we have a brand new game that we want to share with you. We originally wanted to make it public a bit later, however there were a few reasons we decided to do it now, reasons that we'll explain later in this video. Now without further ado, I am pleased to officially announce to you the upcoming mlp-inspired game called Starved for Light. So the first question that comes to mind, what is this game? Starved for Light is a platforming adventure game. And when I say platforming, I mean something like Ori and the Blind Forest. Actually, this game is the best representation of what we're going for in terms of mechanics. We have two playable characters, Leliana and Iris. Those two are also the main protagonists in this game. Each of these characters have their own playstyles, abilities and generally their own way to progress the game. Iris is a sneaky character. She deals with her obstacles by relying on her wits rather than strength. Her small size allows her to stay out of sight of any enemies she encounters. She also possesses a few rather unique abilities that make her a very interesting character to play. Leliana, or Lily for short, is a fight character. She's capable of using more advanced magic. Her ability to fly greatly improves her mobility, which can be useful both in and outside of combat. This also means that she's exposed to far more danger than Iris. Most enemies can be defeated with simple attacks. Our goal is to make combat as varied as possible, so that the player needs to combine all their skills. For example, one of the enemies we have planned is very sensitive to light, and before he can be hurt, we have to illuminate him in some way. Also, while we're speaking about that, light is a core element of the game. We want to build the whole game mainly around that one feature. To our heroes, light will be essential to fight enemies, overcome obstacles, solve puzzles, or even for plain survival. Let's talk about the adventure part of the game. I'm gonna try to not say too much here for reasons that are obvious. As mentioned before, our main characters are two sisters, Lily and Iris. We have already finished writing the whole story, a story which tells us the tale of these two. Also, it's important to point out a few things. Despite the similarities in style between this game and Limbo, our game is not a silent game. Characters have voices and dialogues, and the story itself is quite detailed. There are, however, still a couple elements that are left to a player's interpretation. The other thing is that it doesn't have open world or dynamic story with choices. This is a linear game. And the last one, which is a question that definitely comes to mind. Will this happen? Starved for Light is an mlp-inspired game, not based. It means our game doesn't take any content from the show. Everything, including story, assets and characters, is fully original. And we have a full intention to keep it that way. So that was it about the game. Now for a bit more embarrassing part, at least for us. As you remember, there were two reasons we announced this game now. The first one is Patreon. We're gonna be perfectly honest with you here. We like money, but not for the greediness reason. Money is simply useful. It can be used to buy food so we don't starve to death. It can be used to pay rent so you have a place to sleep. It can be used to pay for our tools we use such as Unity, Photoshop, Illustrator and many more. It can be used to even hire more team members, which is very useful because that means the game will come out quicker and be generally better. We could go on, but you probably get the point. Money is simply useful when making a game. And unfortunately, to some degree it's even necessary, especially if you're trying to be ambitious with it. So, without any shame, we'd like to ask you for help. However, we don't want your support for free. We have 5 tiers on our Patreon, each of which offers a bunch of rewards. And for the sake of it, I'll go through each one of them. The first tier is for $1 a month. For this, you get credited in every public build, including final release. While it may seem like a really small amount, we really encourage you to take this tier. If every person were to pledge just a single dollar, we'd pretty be able to bring this game to a finish without any problem. Remember, every little spark counts. The second tier is for $10 a month. This one gives you access to all Patreon content. We'll be posting things like gameplay previews, concept arts, posts to gather feedback, and pretty much anything that comes to our minds. You also get early access to any public build that we release. The third tier costs $25 a month. With this, you get access to our Discord channel, where I'll hold weekly conferences. Those will feature things such as Q&As, behind the scenes, and much more. Fourth tier costs $50 a month. It gives you a special feature on our main website. The example looks sort of like this. You can put their links to your site's name, logo, and we're even gonna make an OC in the style of a game. Not only that, that same OC will also appear in a game as a background character. And finally, you get a special mention in all builds and our videos as a top donator. The last one is a bit interesting. This was a tier that we kinda ran out of ideas for. We decided to keep it as a surprise. In this one, you get to come up with the reward, as long as it's reasonable, of course. And that's all there is. The second issue we had has to do with Patreon in a way. Though we have a team in a name, we are only 2 people. That being said, we want to start recruiting new team members. We will probably explain this in another video, since it depends on how well the Patreon goes. And that's because we don't want people to work for us for free. Quoting a certain animator that I once spoke with, free work hurts my manhood. And with this, we pretty much covered everything we wanted. But just to answer one last question that's definitely gonna show up. What's the release date? Unfortunately, we don't know this ourselves. There's no way for us to predict that this early in the development, and we certainly don't want to make guesses. However, we do plan to release a prototype very soon. It's gonna be in fall this year. Said prototype will consist of one fully made level, along with all its mechanics, visuals, just as if it was cut from the final game. And now we covered everything. We are aware that many of you might not trust us, especially since you didn't even heard about us before, and we haven't done anything to prove ourselves. We can only hope that as time will go on, we will eventually gain enough trust from the Brony community. And once that happens, we promise to never ever betray that trust. I'd like to thank everyone for listening. We are super excited to see everyone's feedback on this. If you want to follow the progress of the game, you can check out our website, our Twitter, or subscribe to this YouTube channel. I'll make sure to put all the links in the description. Once again, thank you guys so much, and also, Brony's from Poland send our regards. Trzymajcie się, ludziska.